Hello everyone, this is Alberto Ferro, your host at Where is the Music podcast. As you're getting ready for a new musical investigation, preparing your ears and imagination for another journey in the world of music, I would like to remind you that Where is the Music podcast has no sponsor. It relies entirely on donations from listeners like yourself. You can find a link to my website, albertoferro.com, and to my Patreon account in the episode description. If you like what I do and would like me to continue doing it, I encourage you to become a supporter of the podcast, which publishes an episode every week. Thank you for listening, and now let's find out where is the music. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Where is the Music podcast. Today we're going to start from a quote by the great pianist Christian Zimmermann, who I recently heard in an interview, saying something interesting. He says that 98% of its activity is not of artist, but of craftsman. He also mentions how in Italian the word craftsman is artisan, which of course involves the term art, comes from the term art. He mentions it exactly to point out that art and craft overlap quite a bit. It is sometimes difficult to distinguish great craftsmanship from a piece of art. So today I thought of doing something slightly different. Let's assume that he is right, that 98% of the activity of a concert pianist is being a craftsman, and take the opportunity to do a bit of craftsman work together here. In today's episode, I invite you to follow me in a typical session of craftsmanship, where I would do what artisans do. I would select some material, identify a model to refer to, perhaps a musical piece that already exists, come up with an ideal product to aim at, something to think of that we would like to achieve, and draft many versions of my piece until a more interesting design emerges. I don't know whether in the time of an episode we will be able to finish a piece. Perhaps not, but sometimes it takes weeks, months, even years. But with the help of improvisation, we might get to a point of having some sort of a draft of a finished piece. We will point out how the challenges of this approach, the challenges that this approach leads us to face, are intrinsic to the nature of music. Those same challenges, while getting in the way of the creative process, are in fact opportunities for discovering better music. So firstly, as I said, I'm going to identify a model that I want to imitate. Imagine we are doing this with an actual object of design, such as a chair or a small sculpture. My model is a short prelude by Frédéric Chopin, the one in C minor. I'm sure all of you have heard it. It goes like this. etc. Continues for a bit, but most of it you have heard. It's short but intense. So if you were to imitate an existing chair or sculpture, think of yourself, what would you do? You would probably first describe the qualities of that object with a certain degree of detail so that you can imitate those qualities with accuracy. So this piece, as first look, is solemn music. To me, feels like a funeral march kind of type. At least it starts like a big funeral march. There are these regular chords, and it doesn't change until the end. It's very dramatic and sad. And the reason why I picked it is exactly because I perhaps want to see whether I can imitate qualities of it without necessarily playing something so dramatic and sad. And I hope this will come up later. So these are the most apparent quality, but on second look, if I listen carefully, and the score might help me seeing what I hear, I notice there is certain squareness in the phrase, meaning we find a binary principle that informs the rhythm of this music, the motion forward of this music. Think about it. The march is walked with 2 feet. Slow pace of a march. And you can hear left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and right. So there is a binary principle, 1, 2, 1 and 2. This is obvious if you play music. It's obvious to think about it because you know that there is a time signature, and this time signature is 4. So obviously binary principle comes out of 4. But there is plenty of music that has 4/4 and does not necessarily model the phrase and the pace so clearly on such binary principle, left and right, up and down, forward, backward. So it's a slow pace, and it seems you can even attach it to a sense of breathing, going in and out. The general, let's say, rhetoric of this phrasing is of call and response. You have a call and a response. Another call, another response. And there is another, another dimension that might make us think of the dual binary, feature, quality of this music. The first part is all very loud and dramatic, but the second is everything is the same except the dynamic is pianissimo. The length even of these sections of these phrases are the same. It's just 4 bars. So you can think of the dramatic contrast emerges of this duality. Even the dynamics are dual. So let's do something similar, but instead of chords, I'll use single notes. What do I mean? I'm gonna just play one note at a time, but I'm gonna maintain this duality. I'll keep the rhythm, I'll keep the 4 beats in a bar, I'll keep the call and response rhetoric and the slow pace. Maybe something will come like this. Okay, now I'm gonna change a little detail. I'm gonna make it major and see how it sounds. Remember, this is not art yet. This is just craft. Even more, this is a draft of craft. So let's continue. Once again, let's maintain all the features, but let's do something about this solemnity. Perhaps solemnity is the solemnity of this music comes out of the regularity of the march, the repeated rhythm that is in this prelude, this long, 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 short, long. Perhaps we can play a little bit with it. Maybe we can maintain the initial rhythm, but let's respond with something different. Okay, I'm gonna develop this idea a bit further. Gonna do some more, but from now on I'm gonna add a second part, meaning I'm gonna be harmonizing, creating a second voice, which is I'm not suggesting that you should just sit at the piano and invent it. This thing might be challenging, but this is just a way to let's say open up the world of a creative musician, to show that what you hear as a final piece of art, if you think you're hearing it, this is very often the result of craftsmanship work. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm gonna add the left-hand part. Let's keep it simple and straightforward. Doesn't have to be complicated. And on top of that, this is just a draft, so it's not gonna sound amazing from the very start. Okay, you probably get the point. Perhaps we can do a little bit more, trying to do something a bit more original. I'm gonna then, since the pace has changed, you notice that it's not as low anymore. We've lost completely the solemnity that of the funeral march that was in the beginning. But perhaps I'm gonna balance this, making it longer than 4 bars. Okay, so it starts having some sort of shape. Now what we could do is maintaining the similar structure, maintaining similar ideas, but develop the feel of it. Now we have a sense that we are departing from the funeral march, going somewhere a bit livelier, going up in the register, not staying in the low register as Chopin did. Perhaps the feel of it could be achieved, or could be let's say improved by thinking of the left hand part. Does the left hand has this long steady accompaniment chords, or interacts a bit more rhythmically? Something like this. Or something like so let's see. I wonder if I should write all of this, because there is a lot already happening. I'm gonna take some notes, and gonna interrupt the recording for a minute. Okay, I'm back. I have written a few things. So here is the first draft. Okay, it's certainly flowing. It has changed, I would say, quite dramatically the feel of the Prelude by Chopin. I've noticed as I was writing it that intuitively I probably maintained ideas from the original Prelude. You remember the soft piano section? So the left hand has this descending part that goes all the way towards the end, right? And it naturally came out as an accompaniment of this. Etc. So then I maintain the squareness of the phrases. So the first phrase is a call that has a response. Then another call and response based on a different rhythm. And the call and response now blocks, interrupts the flow to a little bit more reflective and perhaps solemn in the typical Chopin style, where have longer notes, less rhythm in between, but the whole character is delivered by the flowing left hand. What happens afterwards, because here are my 4 bars, but we said earlier that we were going to extend 4 more bars, another call and response. So in the first 2 bars, you can hear the squareness again, and no doubt, because this is a transposition of the initial melody. Now I've transposed it here. The feel of it changes just because it's in a different register, just lower. Feels a bit more powerful. And the fact that this is an exact repetition in terms of motives and rhythm makes me think that I am moving forward while staying in the same place. There is a development in the emotional content while the speaker is the same, or the context is the same, right? You can play all these imaginative games. What does it mean when the melody stays the same but it changes key? Well, it means whatever you think it means, whatever you feel it means. In this context, this melody that goes and becomes you can pause it. It's probably an increase in the depth and the intensity of it. Interestingly, I felt this increase, and I doubled the right hand part with octaves in the response. It starts on a single note and it goes. This is much more powerful. And there are 2 bars left. In these 2 bars, I have once again changed the course of this very flowing trajectory into a slower, more contemplative, more solemn. Okay, something like that. Perhaps this is, to me, it's probably the weakest ending of a piece ever. But nevertheless, I liked the trajectory from high, slowly, low, and more somber. So somehow all this intensity gets channeled into a lower, more sober ending. Nevertheless, I maintain the rhythm, ta 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 ta, which is the rhythm of the prelude, and I use it. Okay. Let's now take it take it further. So you remember the duality, the binary principle that characterized the original prelude. We noticed that one way in which it emerges is from the contrast between a very dramatic opening and a very soft, as dramatic as well, but certainly intimate second section. So the beauty to me is in this contrast. Certain composers do unbelievable things when they want to create contrast. So I thought, why not taking advantage of it? And instead of maintaining, as Chopin does in his prelude, maintaining the pace but changing the color, the dynamic, what if I just maintain the duality, the binary sense of motion forward, meaning 1 and 2, in and out, forward, backwards, or left and right. I thought about doing something quite far away from what we have. I'm changing the key, and I'm also changing the overall pace. Quite different, almost unrelated, but where does this come from? I decided to take this route because first, the key has changed into the relative, into the minor mode. We were in C major, now we are in C minor, which is the one that Chopin uses. So there is a dual, let's say, contrast already there, introduced out of the blue. And then you might say, well, the pace has changed. The rhythm was, if you recall, completely changed, half, we should say. But nevertheless, you can still hear the breathing out and breathing in. This is out and in. Or maybe the opposite if you feel like in, out. So certainly the flow that I created in the beginning stops. The fact that it repeats steadily on 2 notes and doesn't move away from these 2 notes is also clearly a contrast with what happened before. You remember the bass part before was going in a scale motion. It was traveling. Let's play the whole thing. I'm gonna now that I have 2 contrasting fields and 2 contrasting sections, I'm gonna organize my story. I'm gonna start with a little introduction taken from the second section, this one. Very little, maybe just a couple of bars. Let's see. I've never tried it before, so we are just drafting a thing here. Perhaps it doesn't work. I'm gonna just do a couple of bars and then go into my first idea. After that first idea, I'm gonna dive in my second contrasting section. And after that, I'm gonna come back to the initial one. Perhaps some changes for sure will happen. I didn't write the whole thing yet, so I'm gonna have to wing it. The technical term is wing it. Okay, so if you followed so far, you probably followed my creative process, and you could tell, oh wait, what's happening here? What does this relate with? Where does it come from? And if you followed so far, probably you also noticed how unplanned things happened. This is maybe a page or two. Counting just quick count of the bars might be somewhere around 40 bars, something like that, perhaps 50, no more than that. It's not much, it's a draft, it's an idea, and I'm sure that if I pick it up probably tomorrow, the next day, so many things will change. I certainly like to think about this activity as artisan, because this is just a piece that comes out on an afternoon today with you listening, with me doing it, but in the same manner we can produce pieces of music like this, shorter, longer, on a daily basis, and once they exist, they just go. And the beauty is in the making. I hope you enjoyed this little journey. Today I'm not sure what kind of links I would add to since this came out today, but I certainly can recommend you to take a look at my counterpoint course, because certainly this having a better grasp of how these things are done practically, how harmony works, certainly helps, quickens this process if you are a creative type of music passionate such as myself. So with that, all the best, and I will see you the next time. Just a quick note to say that my course on counterpoint is active and available. Throughout the years, I developed an approach to counterpoint that is practical, fun, interactive, and aims at developing your improvisational skills from the ground up. It is designed for piano players at the beginner or intermediate level. It is called Counterpoint Fundamentals. It's on udemy.com, and with the coupon code TheMusicCode you get 30% discount. If you're curious about counterpoint but not sure what it is or why it matters in music, go ahead and watch the first 2 classes, which are free. The link is in the description. Coupon code is the music code, no space, no dot, no dash, the music code. Okay? And let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to Where is the Music podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, look up for others. I made a few. I publish an episode every week roughly, investigating each time a different aspect of music. The music making, the music listening, the meaning of music, and its relevance in our lives. It is very helpful for me if you like, subscribe, follow on your favorite platform. Where is the Music is on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TuneIn, and Google Podcasts. If you like to support me, you're free to do so through Patreon. Link in description. Thank you again. Until next time.